Hello, everyone. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, and that somewhere is Madeira, Portugal. This evening, I'm enjoying an apple cider bourbon ginger lemon cocktail. I recommend you experiment with that combination at home. Tastes just like autumn. I'm going to show you some things that I picked up at the farmer's market today for our Thanksgiving centerpiece. We're having 14 people to dinner tomorrow. Mostly local Portuguese people. We have some Swedes, we have some Dutch, we have some British, and we have to share the Thanksgiving meal with people who have never tried it before. In just a minute, we're going to talk to JP. JP is the director of sales and operations at Plug Connection, one of our newest vendors. He's going to tell us all about their operation. I've got a few things and a few housekeeping things we'll talk about first. So hang in there, JP. I'll be right with you. But I just want to show you what I'm going to be using. These are all locally grown here in Madeira. So I've got these beautiful King Proteas. Lineup I've generally had for Thanksgiving. These zygopetalum orchids. If you don't know zygopetalums, they smell just like hyacinths. They're just blooming outside. We have a pot of them that I can't bring myself to cut. So I bought some at the market today. Look at these Nephofia. Nephofia red hot poker. I haven't really seen them growing around here, but maybe they bloom in the autumn here rather than the summer. I don't know. I'm not going to complain. I have another Protea. I believe we call them pink mink back in the U.S. There are American growers, especially in Southern California and Hawaii, who are producing really nice Proteas. They need a very specific climate. I was also quite surprised to find these little Narcissus blooming. This is I believe a Tizeta type. Paper whites are Tizetas. There's all different kinds of Narcissus that I'm really just learning about now that I'm living in a more Mediterranean climate. I'm having fun experimenting with them. Let me just show you this guy. This actually I grew from a bulb. But here's Narcissus viridiflora. Look how tiny that is. Supposedly fragrant at night. It just opened today, so I haven't gotten to smell this yet, but that's a real kind of specialty, kind of rare species. Two more things. Good old birds of paradise, Strelitzia. Very common flower in Madeira all year long. And, the Nerines have been out for quite a while, sometimes called, Guernsey lilies. They're from the South Africa, I believe, but they're naturalized on the Isle of Guernsey. And one more, sorry to get so close, my favorite, these lady slipper orchids, Paphiopedilums. You can buy these here for 50 cents to $1 or euro per stem. So really more of a, thought of as a Christmas flower here, but they're out a couple weeks early. So they will be used in our in our Thanksgiving centerpieces tomorrow. Feel free to tag us in any Thanksgiving centerpieces or bouquets you've been working on. I see a lot of really great mums. Some of these are the pot mums that grow tall that we've been selling through Syngenta. Others are heirloom mums that you've been getting from other sources. We're happy to be supplying you with heirloom mum cuttings from Three Porch Farm now. One of the benefits of climate change is that the season is going longer and people are having a longer harvest window, which is really great if you're hitting that Thanksgiving market. So it's not all good news, but maybe you can turn lemons into lemonade a little bit. We were in St. Louis, not last week, but the week before, for the ASCFG annual meeting, the 35th anniversary of ASCFG. It was great to meet a lot of you, great to see a lot of friends that I haven't seen in a while. And I know there are a lot of new people there, so I really appreciate you coming to the organization. We had some old timers, some classic members of ASCFG. Either directly or indirectly. This organization started 35 years ago, and people came and they talked about growing flowers and they shared what they knew. And then those people have taught other people who have taught other people who have taught me. And that is why I want to help teach you. I really felt the spirit of community and of sharing at this meeting, maybe more so than I have in recent years. So it was really good for my heart. Great to see everyone. Thank you to the board and to the conference organizers. It went really well. And of course, thank you to Judy Lauschman. Judy was instrumental. She started this organization 35 years ago, and she's now retiring after 35 years of tireless service. I would not have my career as a flower farmer had Judy not stepped in to help educate us, 35 years ago, and build this community that is still going strong. One of the strongest horticultural communities we have in America. So thank you for coming. Now, if you learned something, you have to keep coming back and sharing with other people because, well, that's just what the ASCFG is about. You can see I'm outside today. It's getting dark in about an hour here, so I was afraid I would lose light inside. So we're trying it from the patio. Of course, that means we have visitors such as dear Cookie Salad the cat. So pardon any interruptions. A couple other little reminders. As we're still in ordering season, I encourage you very soon, if you're ordering Lisianthus for next year, you need to get that order in because, well, they take 12 or 13 weeks to grow. So we really need to get that order so we know what you want when you want it. We still have full availability of ship weeks, but that might start changing before long. After you order, you will receive an acknowledgement from the grower. That's either Grow and Sell or Plug Connection, as we will learn about today. Read those. They have information that is important to you. Sometimes the seed for the crop you want isn't available, and that will be indicated. Now, we're reading them as we can. Sometimes we miss one or two. So please keep, inform us if you have a question, if you need some explanation about what's going on. All that information should be communicated in that acknowledgement. We will alert you to anything we hear about, but it really helps us if you are all... Okay, sorry, had a little glitch there. Next week, same time, I will be running through our entire new woody plant and bare root perennial program. We had some of these samples at the ASCFG show, things like winterberry. All right, we're in the dining room now. You can see we're getting ready for Thanksgiving. So we thought outside might work, but we were wrong. Very good. Thomas, you shut that door, please. Okay, I think those are all my announcements. Sorry for the technical issues here. Let's bring in JP now, and we're going to learn all about what they're doing out at Plug Connection. Good day for technical difficulties. Hey.
Hello.
It's you.
It's me.
Yeah, sorry about hello. Lost my connection out on the patio, but we're in the dining room now. We'll just make this work.
Okay.
JP, am I correct? You are the sales and operations manager at Plug Connection?
That's correct.
That's a lot to manage. That's a lot to, yeah.
I've been here for approaching 8 years now. And my background was I've had lots of production background and lots of sales background. So it's kind of fun to get to blend the two.
It sounds like two jobs, but you do it as one person.
It's kind of hard in an operation like this to kind of split that. We have a lot of, when I first started here, I actually was just sales manager. And as as we went through the process after about a year, it became evident that I just needed to have a little bit more, I don't want to use the word control, a little bit more access to what's going on day to day. So that really did help.
Well, I have learned you do need one person that knows everything, and it was obvious that could be you when I was out there. You seem to have your finger on the pulse of that place.
It's good. We have Plug Connection's been around since 1987. Believe it or not, it's one of the first strictly young plant production companies. Started as a plug production company. We have a lot of people that have been here from day one. There's a couple dozen people that have been here since the 80s. Our head grower is one of them that's been here since, I think he came here in 89. Our head of facilities and operations have been here since inception. He's built all these greenhouses. So it really helps having that continuity at this company.
Yeah, it was obvious when we visited August, I think, to talk
Mhm.
about how can you help get more plugs to West Coast growers, especially, but really anyone in America who needs them. And it was obvious that you are, I think the word family might get thrown around a lot, but you were cordial, you were friends, you're family, you've worked together for a very long time. That's really fun to see operations that have succeeded in keeping people year after year after year. Also makes for a very, a well-oiled machine. Clearly people knew exactly what they were doing and how they kept the plugs flowing. So where I'm going to come back to what you said earlier about 1987. Where exactly is Plug Connection?
So Plug Connection is funny. I love maps, so I'm right in front of a map, which is good. We're down here in San Diego County. We're actually in the northern part of San Diego County. Can't get much further north. There's a large marine base that separates San Diego County and Orange County. So we're about 7 miles from the coast here. And we're down a corridor, this valley corridor that brings in really nice ocean breezes. So we get nice cool summers and we get nice warm winters. So it's ideal environment for plugs. If you ever look on our website or anywhere, we put this tagline 73 and sunny again in San Diego, because that is our average daily temperature, or our average daytime temperature in Vista, California is 73 degrees. And we get sun, 300 plus days a year. So it's a great environment for growing plugs specifically, because we can tone them without having to use a lot of, plant growth regulators. We can just use natural light, natural cooling in the summertime, so we won't get stretched plugs, etc. So it's really a ideal environment for that.
I have to say, when I was out there, I was shocked at how comfortable the temperature was. Clearly, it's a dry atmosphere. You had evaporative coolers running, which help actually cool a greenhouse. Many people in the U.S. don't understand that concept because it's just too humid for that to work. But you'd walk into a greenhouse and it would be cooler than outside, and the outside was already really quite pleasant. So I think it is really an ideal climate, and it shows in your plugs.
Yeah, we probably only have 5 days over 100 degrees here, and we probably only have 12 days over 90. It's quite often in the summer. It's in mid to low 80s. Typically high 70s in the summer. And then in the winter, we'll get some cool days, because we do get, a little bit of rain and cloudy weather. But typically it's, when a cool day here in the winter, it might hit 58. So.
Right. Quite pleasant. So you mentioned the foundation, or the 87 is when Plug Connection started?
Yeah, so Plug Connection actually started in Long Beach, Huntington area.
Okay.
And it started as a joint project with a Finnish grower. Tim Wada was the original owner, and he started this company, kind of brand new. Back then, people were sowing, big seedling flats, just broadcast sowing and extracting the seedlings that came up and transplanting them into finished pots. So this idea of individualized plugs was really quite young in the early 80s, mid 80s. So 1987 was when they started in that area, but we moved here, I believe, in 91. And so we've been in this location in Vista since then.
Okay. My brain wants to know, why weren't there plug producers before? Was it because transportation technology hadn't quite arrived?
No,
Sewing technology
I
to
think,
singulate things into individual cells?
yeah, I think that was the key. It's a lot easier to just broadcast sow in a common flat back then. Sewing machinery, automatic sewing machines weren't really available until that time. So I think it kind of came together at that time. Also, the demand was so high that the labor needs were difficult to fill. So automation kind of took in at that point.
So we're lucky to be living in a time in history where we can just order plugs from a website and have them show up on our doorstep.
I think so.
Yeah, I always encourage everyone, especially new growers, like please grow from seed. Try to do this. Learn how to propagate from cuttings. You need to understand how this is done, and then once you figure that out, you'll understand the value of what you actually receive. Ideally they show up in perfect condition. We all know sometimes a box takes a tumble, but 99% of the time things arrive perfect, ready to plant on the day you want them. And I really admire all the technology and scheduling that brings them to that point. So we are selling with you two different sizes. We have our 128, which is a larger size transplant, easy to handle. We have a lot of people who like 128s. But then you grow 288s, which might seem kind of scary for some people because it's a little bit small. But tell me why it's really not anything to be afraid of.
So, our business right now is we do a lot of annual plugs. So obviously annual plugs go into smaller containers. And we do a lot of 512 plugs, actually, quite small. But those go into things like 6-pack, pony pack type production, 4-inch. But 2-inch is a real workhorse size for us because it's so versatile. You can use a 2-inch in a pony pack, or you can use it in a 4-inch, or a quart, or a gallon, so that's for annual growers. Now, 288's a real common size to use in the vegetable industry because people go straight into the ground with that size. It's something that is big enough. I'll show you. It's not one of the crops we'll be doing with you. It's primula. So this is a 288 plug. This is a 288 plug that we're growing with what we call a stabilized media. This is a 288 plug that's been grown with just a loose fill media, where we just drop the media into the tray. This stabilized media, which is in this case it's called Flexi Start. It's still a peat-based media. It's peat moss and a little bit of in this case there's some other amendments, but it includes a binding agent that we irrigate in, and what it does is it keeps the structure of this plug. So this plug will always be this nice structure. So even if I didn't have this great rooting, which we do have, I can extract the plug and I can bounce it around and drop it and throw it, and it still stays intact. This plug, which is a loose fill media, you can see the plug isn't held together quite as well, even though it's rooted quite well. And I can hit this around and you see what it's done to the plug. Mm-hmm. So we've switched a lot of our production on the cut flower production to this stabilized media. Not everything, but a lot of items. Here's the difference in size between 128, which you're accustomed to seeing. This is actually a scabiosa.
Okay.
And this is the plug we just mentioned. So you can see it's probably a little bit more than 50% bigger. So the key with a 288 is just making sure that you irrigate it and actually irrigate the plug when you transplant, because it doesn't have, obviously it's not going to last as long between irrigations. So when you plant it, you transplant it, make sure you're irrigating and getting water to it before it roots out. But they do root out quite quickly. So
yeah, I would really try to hammer home that people just how tender that plant is, because when it's only that big, you have to get the soil immediately around the plug wet. Having a drip tape even an inch away from it is not sufficient if the water is not reaching the plug. So that's why you really want to use overhead irrigation with a hose or a sprinkler for at least those first couple of weeks after you plant until you start seeing some growth. Thanks for that illustration. I think it's good to see. They're not too tiny. Like, you can handle them. They're easy to pull out of the tray. They're easy to see. It's not going to be like tweezer work, but you will just have to keep them watered like you should be doing with any plug when you transplant.
The other advantage, of course, is shipping. We use the same box for the 288 and the 128. I'm going to show you the box. It's kind of hard to see maybe here, but this is our box. We have a side loading box, and the advantage of this is you can lay this box out on the bench open the side and see everything that's in there to double check the trays. Plus, we don't have to drop in an insert, which a lot of people use. This is the foil wrap that we use for our winter shipping. So if you're in a cool climate, very cold climate, I mean, in the wintertime, we'll use this insert and ship it in order to get the plugs a few extra hours before they get chilled. If it's obviously in the summer, we won't use this wrap at all. It'll just be these inserts.
Great. So I know you watch the weather closely during shipping season to make sure you aren't sending plants to their death.
Yeah, our shipping coordinator, Laura, monitors all the different states we're shipping to, double checks those zip codes. Are the temperatures going to be, if the temperatures are going to be below 35, she'll do the winter wrap.
Great.
The other thing we do is we wrap each individual tray with this paper. So this will go around the tray. And it's almost like if you've ever seen netting, some people use netting that go around the tray. The problem with that is extracting the plugs from it's difficult. The other advantage of this is if those plugs are a little bit wet at all, which we do our best to monitor and make sure they don't go into the box wet, it will absorb some of that excess moisture so it doesn't collapse the levels of cardboard.
Perfect.
So,
yeah, we'll say that both you and Grow and Sell will check the weather before they ship, because after 13 weeks of growing something tenderly, you also don't want to see it die. We all want to see it arrive in good shape.
It
so
breaks
we appreciate when you email us to ask, like, are you going to ship this week? But we're one step ahead of you. We're all watching that weather forecast like eagles during shipping season.
And if the temperatures are going to be below like 20 for any sustainable period of time, we do hold shipments,
right.
And that will be something we communicate with the office and have that communicated out to the customer.
That's great. Good peace of mind. Yeah, your shipping system is top notch. You've got a really great team there figuring out the best way to somehow fit 5 or 6 trays in those boxes.
Yeah, this insert setup is for 4, but we use the exact same box for 5. So if it's a 288, it'll be 5 trays per box, and if it's a 128, it'll be 4.
Great. So one thing that sets you apart, you also happen to have an entire certified organic division, which is currently all vegetables, mostly vegetables.
Yeah, so we like to claim some of our firsts, and we were the first strictly young plant facility to become organically certified back in 2005 in the West Coast. And so we've been doing organic plugs of herbs and vegetables since then. We've dabbled in different tomato projects and other things, but our core is a 288 vegetable plug. The listing we were doing with you this first year is a little bit smaller just to keep it reined in, because we have a ton of line items we do for some other customers, and it can get a little bit cumbersome in terms of varieties. But it's all done in a different part of our facility. We have about a half acre of production space that's devoted just to organic production. Currently, it's just herbs and vegetables, as you mentioned, but obviously we can do flower seed if we can get the inputs that are either non-treated or organic. Some things don't lend themselves to that, so we and we'd love to learn them. One example is Viziantha seed's very small, and so we have to get it non-coated, and it's very difficult to sow some of that. So we're doing some trials to see what we can do in the future, but we'd love to bring that as an option in the years to come.
Obviously, Lysianthus is the one thing that people prefer to get from plugs, and we do have certainly some customers who are certified growers who have sort of had to segment their operations to have a non-certified part and a certified part of their farms. Rest assured, JP and I have been talking about this. I've been talking with seed producers about this. It really comes down to that pellet on the seed. We need to have pelleted seed that is also organic, and that's just a big ask. But it is possible if there's enough interest.
It's possible.
Let us know if that's something you are interested in as a grower.
They've done that in the strawberry industry. So there is options. It's just, you have to get there has to be enough volume for the seed suppliers to do that.
Yeah,
So,
if you're going to pellet 50 or 100,000 seeds, you need to know you have that many people ready to buy them. So if you order a certified organic and conventionally grown cut flowers, they can all ship in the same box. Is that correct?
they can. We have what we do is we divide the box and have we try and put a space in between. So in that case, we might not put as many per box. If we have to load those on the top side. So that's kind of the regulations we're following. In fact, it's interesting. Our organic inspections in 2 weeks. So looking forward to that.
I think you're fine, but good luck.
No, it's all paperwork.
Yeah.
It's all about paperwork.
Yeah, I used to work in the organic seed world for a while, and I'm familiar with the paperwork and what is necessary for a certifier. That said, hey, if you're a Farmer Bailey customer and you want more organic products, shoot me an email and tell me what it is you're looking for, because I view it that we work for you. So if there's enough demand, we will do our best to make it happen. And Plug Connection actually has a certified organic facility which gets us one step closer to solving this big puzzle. It's all logistics. It can all be done. It just takes someone to do it, and someone crazy enough to ask all the right questions. Great. So we should say why we started working with you in the first place. We are having trouble sometimes getting orders into California, and also shipping costs from the East Coast just go up and up and up. And we really wanted to have an option within California to help better support our California growers, but also for people who's kind of west of the Mississippi to get a little break on those shipping rates. I think that's one of the main things you bring to the table, besides being a nice guy and you grow really great plants. I say I've seen your facility; the plants are top notch. I came out there to kick the tires to make sure that you were doing something that I could stand behind, and you absolutely are. As time goes on, we will see our range of products expand with you, I think. We sort of took our 100 best sellers that we've been selling for years, and we're starting the program with those. So that said, if there's something that you're not seeing on the Plug Connection website, let us know. I think you're adding new products weekly, if not daily, I would imagine. Yeah,
that's kind of what we're known for in the marketplace is flexibility. Some of our competitors in production on the annual side are affiliated maybe with breeders, and so there can sometimes be incentives for them to produce more of one item over another. Whereas for us, it's completely up to our customer base. So we're always looking to hear what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be. Some limitations, like whether we can sow it automatically or those type of things. But generally, we're pretty flexible to do what we can do. So.
I have to say, your fixing machine. What do you call the?
It's called a combi fix.
Okay. So it's a big robot. Let me explain it, and then you can correct everyone when I'm wrong. So obviously, when we germinate, you sow something, you hardly ever get 100% germination. And if you're growing for yourself, it's not a big deal. As a plug grower, you really need pretty close to 100% germination to make it worthwhile. Otherwise, you're pulling out all these empty cells and trying to find a good plant to put back. But you've got robots and optical eyes that do it for you. And it's one of the most fascinating things I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, they're it's much the same technology that you would use in a transplant machine, which are out there and being used in the marketplace. What happens is we send the trays into this. Maybe we'll do a video at some point. We can show how that works. But we send the trays into a machine. Goes on this conveyor. There's the electronic eye that takes a photo, and then we kind of reprogram it every time we switch varieties just to make sure it's looking at the right thing. But it identifies which cells that things have not germinated. You go through and kind of train it and say, yes, those are the correct cells. It runs through this kind of air gun, which blows out all those bad cells, and there's a vacuum at the top that vacuums out those the media from that. Then those trays slide over to the other side of the machine, and these fingers come down, and they pick, because this machine knows which cells were bad and which ones were good. It sets aside what we call like a parent tray or a donor tray is the word we use. Goes and it pulls those cells out and replants them. Comes out on the other end. We double check to make sure it's patched everything correctly, and then it stores all that information so we can track germ rates, etc. So it's really useful tool. We invested in it a few years ago, and it's really given us the capability to do a lot more. It's actually given us the ability to hire more employees, because we can have more employees doing jobs that are a little bit more critical to the operation, as opposed to, just hand selecting which trays are good and which are bad.
Yeah, I've been with growers before, farmers before, when they see these robots and they get kind of worried that they are taking jobs away. But in fact, they're taking a really tedious job that no one wanted to do in the first place, and they're allowing you to take that employee and help, they can do something much more enjoyable, and also you can grow more plants. So I fully believe that it probably does actually increase your workforce rather than reduce it.
Yeah, I think every piece of machinery we've purchased in the last couple of years has actually allowed us to hire more employees. We expanded our seed lines. We only had 3 primary seed lines, and we expanded to 4 about 5 years ago. Again, we were able to bring in more employees. So it's kind of good. That's what we'd like to do. So
obviously, each of these efficiencies helps reduce the price of the end product, which helps reduce the price that we need to charge to the customer. So I think it's a win on every front. I want to ask you about poinsettias, because we don't see many of our growers using them as cut flowers, but I know it's possible. Maybe it's something we need to think about for a year from now. But I hear you have a little history in the poinsettia world.
Yeah, actually, I got my start in poinsettias. I went to college initially to study landscape contracting, and a group of friends and I were able to grow what we called an enterprise project. I went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and those enterprise projects, what happens is you get to grow a crop. The university puts forth all the capital to grow the crop. You grow it, market it, sell it, and then profits come in, and you split the profits with the university. Pay your costs off, and then split the profits. So I did that, and it was no turning back. So I went to work for Eki Ranch, which is famous for actually breeding the first poinsettias in the United States, and they bred, and they actually still, under a new name and new ownership, but they still breed in Encinitas, California, which is about 15 minutes from here. So I love poinsettias. We used to do cut flower poinsettias when I worked there. There's a variety which has been discontinued called Renaissance, which would have these large, if anyone's familiar with the variety called Winter Rose, which looks, the bracts, instead of being expanded and wide, are kind of rounded. This Renaissance variety, they were just ginormous, and we produced a lot of those. But Winter Rose can be grown as a cut flower. There's a few other varieties which have kind of smaller bracts, which can be done as cut flowers. Here we root a couple million poinsettias in the summertime that we sell to customers as that transplant them and finish them. In fact, we are shipping in the next week. We'll be completely shipped out. We grew about 50,000 poinsettias here this year. So it's a program that's dear to my heart. So I, always happy to help. I kept a lot of my old documents from that company when it did sell, and a lot of the old processes and stuff kind of went out. So I do have some documents on how to do some cut flower production, and some of the scheduling and stuff. So something we could always explore.
Great. Yeah, I think we're seeing more and more growers move into the Thanksgiving holiday. There's no reason that, especially in the southern tier, we can't see more growers moving into the Christmas. One of the biggest challenges for these kind of regional, local cut flower growers especially in the northern part of the U.S., is that we miss Thanksgiving, we miss Christmas, we miss Valentine's, and often we miss Mother's Day. These are the biggest floral holidays of the calendar. So as more of us are going all year long or extending the shoulder season further and further, I think there's room for more products to enter that market. So,
and if anyone follows our Instagram, which we actually just started because they haven't been active, but I have a younger employee here that's really interested in pursuing being active in our Instagram, so she's going to help me out. But there's an image on there that we posted that is of a variety called Autumn Leaves, which is naturally blooms right before Thanksgiving. We've sold, I think, 20,000 of them this year. It's normally grown as a potted crop, but be interesting to see if that could be a cut flower variety. It doesn't have the best vigor, but you know that's just about scheduling and timing. But the color is perfect. It's a kind of a peachy, has tones of orange and tones of peach and pink, so it's really a good color for that. So.
Yeah, I saw the photo. It's beautiful. I apologize for dragging you into the world of social media. I honestly don't love social media, but I do love how effective it is at communicating. So we use it as a communication tool. We don't base our self-worth on it. It's really just a way to talk about what we're doing. Photos are a great educational tool, and so are videos.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, great, JP. We're happy to have Plug Connection be partnering with us. I view us all as partners, and I really do view that we work for the grower, the farmers, the end consumer. So I'm happy to have you on our team, our ever-expanding team. Yeah, if anyone's having any questions about your orders, just contact us. It's a lot to figure out a new program. We're trying to teach Plug Connection about what it is our customers want. We're learning more about Plug Connection's processes. There's a lot of detail that happens behind the scene. So never feel bother us, email us, ask us these questions. If you see something on your acknowledgement, you don't know what it means, just let us know. There's 4 of us checking the inbox almost constantly. Thankfully, our Allie got a little vacation in the last week, and we miss her dearly because, well, we're realizing how much Allie actually does. No, we know how much she does. We appreciate all of our employees. I hear it's maybe your birthday today.
Yeah, it actually is. Yeah.
Well, happy birthday!
Thank you
for taking time out on your birthday. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving to you and to everyone in America. Like I said, we're celebrating here in Madeira. We've been here just about a year, so we have a lot to be thankful for, and we're gonna teach people how to eat turkey and stuffing.
Well, I just want to thank you, Bailey. You know, we went into this fairly quickly, and these are the way we like to move on projects, and we can't thank everyone on your side enough. Just the professionalism and the support has been amazing, and you know, all of you customers, we are excited for you to see what we can do, and we can't wait to see what more we can do.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
I should clarify that obviously you ship all over the country, grow and sell ships all over the country. So just because you maybe don't live nearby doesn't mean you can't, you know, shop each other's catalogs. Yeah, the main advantage is shipping costs. If you can order closer to where you're from, you're going to save a little bit on shipping, but you can fit, well, five trays of 288s is a lot of plants.
And if you are in Southern California, we offer pickup, so there could be a zero freight component if that's something we need to do. I know that's an option.
Excellent. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for what you're doing, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, JP.
Bye.
All right, everyone. Thanks for talking with us today. We'll be back next week to talk about all of our woody plants and our bare root perennials, and we'll see you then. And have a happy Thanksgiving. Goodbye.